For the latest Alien and Predator news updates, visit hybridnetworkyt.com. Hey, what's going on guys? Nick here with another Versus video. This one's going to be a fun matchup because it's something that was requested on the last video that I did where I pit the Aliens Colonial Marines up against the Mobile Infantry from the Starship Troopers films universe. This one is going to be something that one of the commenters suggested where it's going to be pitting the Mobile Infantry from the Starship Troopers films against the Xenomorphs from the movies obviously that we got, and kind of seeing who would actually win in a scenario. So the scenario that I came up with that would be the most fair would be that you drop in a platoon of mobile infantry soldiers, which would be roughly 36 troopers with basic Marita rifles, 2 designated marksmen, and also the access to oxygen tactical nukes, which could decimate basically an entire Xenomorph hive or bug hole, which we've seen in the films. And the scenario would be that the platoon of mobile infantry would be entering a Xenomorph hive, kind of like the one that we saw in Aliens, the 1986 film by James Cameron, because I think a hive of that size would be pretty fair and even for them to go up against. And I would also say that there's a queen around too that the mobile infantry would have to face as well, just to keep things interesting. So let's say they're going up against maybe 20 or 30 warriors plus the queen herself. So who would actually win in this fight? Well, let's talk a little bit about the mobile infantry that we saw in the 1997 film. In that film, a lot of the time their tactics involved basically strength in numbers and firing and using firing lines and positions and fortified positions like that, but also really relying on their squad tactics. Now, we also know that the mobile infantry doesn't have access to motion trackers, any type of that technology, and their Marita rifles aren't quite as powerful as the M41A pulse rifles that the Colonial Marines would be packing. They also don't have access to smart gunners or heavy machine gunners because most of their platoon is basic riflemen with the exception of a couple designated marksmen, which would be packing more long-range rifles. So in the scenario that a mobile infantry platoon entered a hive, it would be fairly chaotic, I think, just like the Colonial Marines face, but I think it would be even more devastating because they wouldn't have the early warning of the motion tracker systems, and their battle plans and strategies are more catered to all-out assaults, like in an open area, rather than a confined, claustrophobic, condensed sort of interior building or warehouse, whatever it's going to be, and I think that would really hurt and hinder the mobile infantry forces. The Xenomorphs are also very cunning and can attack from the shadows. As we've seen before, they don't really rush out like arachnids would in the movies, so the mobile infantry guys would be getting picked off left and right and they wouldn't even know what hit them. Also, you have to factor in the queen herself, which I think could probably take out the entire platoon if she got the jump on them. The only thing the mobile infantry has going for them, I think in my eyes, is the fact that they also have access to basically shoulder-fired tactical nukes that could decimate the entire alien hive, but at the same time, to fire off one of these nukes or just let them go off, it would basically be wiping out your entire platoon as well. So either one guy would have to stay behind or they might have to sacrifice themselves to complete the mission, which would be wiping out the Xenomorph infestation. So it's a pretty close matchup, I guess you could say, in that regard, but honestly I'd have to give the edge to the Xenomorphs just because they have so much of an upper hand being on their home turf and being in a confined sort of condensed environment rather than being on an all-out field. Because if they were attacking an outpost that was in an open area, that was in daylight or something, or in an actual visible light area, then sure, I think the mobile infantry would have a good position to fortify themselves in. But if they're entering a Xenomorph hive, I think the Xenos definitely have the upper hand. But leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's get a good discussion going and debate on this topic. And in my next video I can talk about switching the other side, which would be the Colonial Marines, and seeing how they fare against the mobile infantry's enemies. As always, thank you all for watching. My name is Nick, and for more on the Starship Troopers and Aliens universe, subscribe to Hybrid Network.